So, warm greetings to everybody. It's great to have you here. I see quite a few familiar names. So, welcome to all of the friends and also the new friends in the meeting. So, this is a webinar connected to our STEAM Plus project. The STEAM Plus project is focusing on how to implement STEAM, the combination, the integration of science, technology, engineering, arts, and mathematics in a lifelong learning context, especially also in adult education. So we will learn about the Finnish concept of lifelong learning, and we will also get more information, a little bit more in-depth overview of how the Finnish educational institutions are joining together in the lifelong learning agenda, and what's the connection between basic education, higher education, and adult education, and what's the point to focus on the integrated approaches such as STEAM, what kind of complex competencies and skills need to be developed in this context of lifelong learning. So this has been our focus on the first webinar. The first webinar also went online, so it can be found in YouTube. I think all of you who registered to this meeting got the YouTube link of the first webinar. In case if not, just send me a chat message, and in the end of the meeting, I will copy paste the YouTube link in the chat. But what happened at the first meeting? So last week we had a very special, very interesting occasion, because we had a hybrid seminar. So most of you joined online. However, some of you who are also in this meeting, like Edith and her colleagues, and also Carrie Osborne, were joining us in real life, I mean physically, in person. And we had the opportunity to do some activities together. I have some pictures of what we have done during this weekend. So you can see here on the screen Professor Werner Olivier and Flora Olivier. They were our guests from South Africa. And we had teachers from Finland and Hungary meeting us, and also from and also we created a collaborative artwork together. Carrie, if it's comfortable for you, can you a little bit summarize what we have done?
Okay, so yes, I can. So last week, as you can see, there was also a young participant as well. And so what we were doing is we were looking at this idea of lifelong learning. We were looking at sustainability, which is very much a piece, and so the interwoven piece. If you look at this upper left-hand corner, there's a big S. And so that is, yes, so that is the start of the sustain. And then if you go diagonally down and to the right, you can see the word sustainability going on the diagonal. And then through that, we were also we were looking at from the S, then we also took this idea of social, emotional, and educational elements, which are so required within each piece of a learner's path towards, their educational path has to have both the social and the emotional pieces interwoven. And so we, you can see how this, it was also, there's a woman that we were introduced to the work of the woman who's from Cambridge, who has talked a lot about these transversal educational
transdisciplinary education.
It's interdisciplinary education, and the responsibility as teachers in order to make sure and guide our students to not just see silos, individual silos of education, but to see how there is this interconnectivity. And so her work was using this collage of letters in order to create her title. So influenced from that, we took this idea of sustainability as the running theme, as the running thread, and then we took the social, the emotional, and the educational pieces into the lifelong learning. So educational, you can see that the L from educational also ties into the L from lifelong and then learning. And then you can see that there are, so there was especially the educators who are from Hungary were very interested in this idea of a global, of like holding on to our earth, and this idea of hands. And so developing from that idea of hands, then we thought of, so it's sort of a collage piece. And so we traced our hands, and then you can see at the bottom where there's this heart, where how you can make the heart this way as well, or a heart this way, but this which is also sort of a way of the OK sign is this, but then if you turn it into the heart, and those are the hands of the young. That was the sun. Down at the bottom, you can see the green and the blue, and then the red heart at the bottom of emotional. At the end of emotional. So underneath emotional, you can see the heart, and then you can see how the heart is comprised of these hands as well. So it was sort of hands-on, or we were also listening to a British folk band.
Yes. Show of hands.
Yeah, show of hands. Show of hands means like a show of hands is like who's in, a show of hands, so it's this idea of democracy. A show of hands is where you're listening to whatever.
Okay, I didn't know that.
Yeah, that's what a show of hands means.
Great.
Show of hands, who's for, who's against. And so when you're taking a show of hands, it means that that you are subscribing, and you're giving your voice, as it were, lending your voice, lending your hand, a show of hands as to who's in. So, and then also so we traced our various hands, and then also at you can see that there's also the heart as well for this. If you see a lot of, especially in K-pop and things like this, where it's a small little heart. So if you see if you have students who are, especially Korean students, they'll do like this little. So I did also, you can see up underneath the social, and between the social and emotional, you have also, it's not a bunny rabbit, it's not a mouse, but but it's actually just like the one-handed heart. And then then we just did the various hands, and then also just and the idea of the social being the I from social being dotted with the ubiquitous smiley face, and then the smiley face, like the what would you say when you talk about positivity and negativity, right? So the smiley face. So the smiley face here is topping the I from social, and then you have the smiley face at the bottom, which is just the sort of the reverse of it for using the same color scheme, but just on the opposite side. So rather than the yellow with the I think it was like this pinky color, purpley color, and then so then we used the purpley color with the yellow in the center for the as you would say, full stop at the very end. So after sustainability sort of was, that's if your eye follows the sustainability all the way down, and then full stop is the smiley face at the end, which is which is the sort of the counterpoint to the reverse of the color scheme that was the dot of the eye of the social. So that's, and then we have various themes that were interwoven in the hands. The one that's in the upper right hand corner is they said, yeah, that's kind of like the Marianne. And here in Finland we have this this Marianne candy, which is wrapped with this sort of candy stripe piece. And then we have the infinity signs, and we have various, pieces of growth. And so, yeah, but so that was our compilation.
Thank you so much, Carrie. As you can see, quite many layers, and also a contribution from all of you. I think that was really important about this, and this collaborative creativities as we experienced it. And in connection with the theme of our hybrid session, which was sustainability and lifelong learning, I think collaboration and collaborative creativities are really those what are needed to get a little bit more hopeful amongst this incredible huge challenges related to sustainability. And we had another reason to work on this work, in addition that it was a very good exercise for us. So you can maybe try this kind of exercise or other kind of forms of collaborative creative self-expression with your students or in your own context. But now with the South African guests, we have a very interesting exhibition going on in the local art museum. And here we have wonderful artworks from South African children, South African students. And these artworks are now inspiring Finnish children and their teachers to think about sustainability, but not only the youth, but also anyone who visits this exhibit. And that's also a key in the lifelong learning context to be more aware of the sustainability challenges and have a forward looking thinking amongst these questions. Okay, now it was worth to take a bit longer introduction, because now we have actually 20 participants, and our number is still growing. So let's see who joins on the way. But now, for those who are here for the first time, so my name is Kristóf Fenyvesi. I work in the University of Jyväskylä in central Finland, in the Finnish Institute for Educational Research. And we have a project, the STEAM Plus project, which is hosted by Experience Workshop, which is our STEAM education organization. And then to have just a little recap of what we had last time, maybe I just highlight this specific slide, which shows the Finnish educational system. And we started to discuss that how these part when we can think of the the transversability between the different educational institutions are very important, and to keep the doors open, and to not put anyone on a one-way track, maybe already from the kindergarten or early childhood education age. So you can see that how important is that the education system has a high degree of openness, and also a high degree of flexibility to support that flexibility, which is really expected from the learners as well, and also from the people who are already on the job market, because as we have discussed, this is a very fastly transforming scene, and many important changes are happening from one day to another. We're also started to speak about the transversal competencies. So the Finnish education system is really focusing on building individual and group competencies and skills. So the basic education goal is to raise and increase those knowledges, skills which are needed in life. So in basic education, we not really think of to train specialists, but we really want to give a strong and general foundation which can support the learner throughout their whole life. So this skill and competence, this competence and skills related to the thinking and learning to learn, this seems to be a very important one among the other key competencies, because in fact this is the ability which helps us the most to learn whatever we need to learn during our lifespan. And there are many legends about the Finnish education system. There were some news some years ago that there are no subjects anymore in the Finnish basic education in the Finnish schools. So this is actually not true. You can see all of the subjects listed in this slide. However, what became very important is to see and discover the connection between the subjects, to have the learners to discover the connection, and also to encourage the learner to use the knowledge in real life. So this first of all requires useful knowledge, and also that kind of learning which is in line also with everyday situations, and gives answers and help the students and orient the students in everyday situations. So this became very important. And as we have seen, the integrative approaches between the STEAM areas have also this kind of motivations behind, to engage the students into the learning process, to provide various experiences, support various learning styles, various formats of learning, various forms of learning, and to make the learning process enjoyable and support the students level and increase the students and teachers level of well-being through the learning process. So what we have seen, what we can see in the larger context, in the wider context. So what is very important about the Finnish education system, that there are very long-term plans. So usually the curricula period is like 7 year in the basic education. It's not a rule, but we can see statistically that in more or less in every 6th or 7th or 8th year we have a new curriculum. This might be also change in the future. However, this has been the situation in the recent decades, and we can see also that the curricula are very much built on the top of each other. So this true also in the past in connection with the past Finnish curriculas, but also it's true also for the educational system which is underpinning the curriculum. So, and in this context we can see that innovation and research and development is among the major fields of investments in Finland. So it's really part of the national strategy. So compared to other countries, a quite high amount of the GDP is invested in the research and development field. So this also in connection with that Finland really see education as the breakout point for the society and also for the country. In connection with this, we can see that Finland really tries to be on the front line of the digitalization in the European context, but we can also see this in the global context. So Finnish schools are very well equipped, and connectivity also in the technological context is very, very important. And we can see also a lot of global players in terms of digital education who are located in Finland or basing their platforms on the Finnish approaches. So there are a lot of edtech companies are on the global scene which are representing Finnish education. And what has been mentioned quite many times nowadays is, of course, the questions related to energy and resources. So, especially in these really challenging times, these questions of related to the sustainability are also very heavy political questions, but we have also seen a very consistent approach in Finland to invest in the sustainable energy solutions. So we can see a lot of these startups and technologies are under development in Finland, and this has also quite direct effect on the educational scene. So both in the basic education and both in the adult education, this kind of sustainable energy awareness needs to be supported. There are many new solutions, many new technologies are available, and there are also the related education is available in the society. Also, we can see that the when we look at Finland, and we can recognize that the most dense population is in the Helsinki metropolitan area, and there are a few larger cities, in Finnish terms larger, so not the whole population of Finland is 5.5 million. And when I say large city, I can think of like 300,000 inhabitants or 200,000 inhabitants. So this is really not these megapolis kind of cities. However, we can see Finland is a very rural society, in terms that the majority of the country is sort of countryside. So we find very important to have the regional developments are happening all the time, and to provide answers also to the situations of, for example, unemployment in the not that frequent areas in the country, and how to create a more balanced economical situation countrywide. So this also connects to the Finnish concept of equity, what is supported also on the regional level. We can also see that how the industrial scene is characterized in the map of economics. So this is also explains that why Finland is investing the most in digitalization and sustainable energy solutions. So these are also those kind of openings in the global market, which can support a smooth transition from previous industrial models into the future models, and building a more sustainable economics and a more sustainable society. What I already mentioned already in the introduction last time, and I try to emphasize this from different aspects, is the question of the so-called career cycles. So career cycle means that how we can build our career, our job or work over the time, and how we are entering into a certain job, and how we can develop in that field, and how we close such a period when it comes to an end for various reasons. So we can see that these career cycles are shortening, and this phenomenon is related to the radical transformations of the job market. And while we have seen that career cycle statistically was maybe 15-20 years a few decades ago, we can see that in the current Finnish society, it's more like even less than 5 years. So 5 years. So we can see that 1 to 5 years people need to sort of reinvent themselves. So and it's not only just themselves, but also the employers need to find out how to support the reinvention of their employees and the workers. So we can see that the workers are expected to adapt and change their skills and knowledge more frequently, And of course, this is in connection with the technological advancements, but also with the evolving work environments, as we can see it. So, and this is really approached in a structural manner in Finland. So no one really think that this challenge need to be solved solely by the employee, but this is the same kind of challenge is also on the employer. So we try to find that kind of structural approach, that how our educational system could support also this high need for adaptability and flexibility, how we can make our educational system also that highly adaptive and flexible to support this change. And this means quite a radical transformation also in higher education, and we can see that how these goals are coming together in a combined approach. So I told in the last webinar that Finland has a very ambitious goal to have 50% of the society to finish their formal education with a higher education degree. However, we can see that even this 50% this number is too challenging, seems to be too challenging to be reached. However, at the same time, the higher education need to enter more into the lifelong learning scene, and also support more the less formal types of education, or providing the capacities for new forms of learning. And we will talk about this very soon, because this is actually already happening now, and I have a few interesting examples in connection with this. So what is happening? More concretely, we can see that the sort of traditional degree programs and very lengthy training courses are not longer sufficient, because these are get into conflict with this need of the adaptability and flexibility. We can see that the workers require shorter, more focused learning opportunities that can be completed quickly and on demand. So if you think about the opportunities in mobile learning, I'm sure that many of you use, for example, Duolingo, this language teaching, language learning app. So one of the key for Duolingo's success is that if you have a few minutes, then you not just browsing in social media or doing some random activities with your mobile, but you start to use your time for micro learning or just in time training. So we can see more of these examples arising also in lifelong learning. So not only learning languages in our free time, but also learning a new profession will be supported by this kind of modes of learning. Of course, there are many types of activities which you cannot just learn through your mobile phone in a few minutes, but probably the content can be adapted, that you can identify that what are those parts of your learning which could be more flexible and more dynamic. and which are those ones which require still the physical presence or being in the same environment with your instructor or with your teacher. So we can see that more structural efforts are done in this regard to provide more dynamic and flexible learning opportunities. Another important aspect is providing individualized and personalized learning opportunities. This is very closely connected to the previous aspect, but if you think more, this is even makes the situation more interesting and more challenging, because we can also think about that who are the learners. So learners are, of course, individuals who are totally different from each other. They have different stories, they have different interests, they have different needs, they learn different things, and for some content for someone can be experienced as a repetition of something what has been already learned, but another one this will be a totally new topic. So how you can also provide a more customized learning opportunity? That's another big question. And as you can think of this mobile learning example where technology plays an important role, of course, in the individualized and personalized learning opportunities, technology has a key role in this. And I would like to bring in one more perspective, which is really the essence of lifelong learning, which seems to be unavoidable even if we want or not. And this is the shift towards continuous skill development. So learning is not anymore happening in necessarily in a dedicated time and dedicated environment. We not necessarily learn only when we go to the school and when we meet with our teachers and participating in a classroom work, but we can see that there is an ubiquitous transformation of learning, and we can see that this continuous skill development becoming more and more important. So how these are supported? So the technology offers those kind of learning platforms and online resources which make it possible to access to learning materials anytime and anywhere, and encourage self-directed learning. So if you remember what I have told about this competence and related skills to learning to learn, how to learning and get to know ourselves and get to know also our own interests and capacities and ways how do we learn. You can see that this is absolutely important in order to encourage and also to develop the abilities for self-directed learning. So this is very important, and we can also see that how these technologies provided by the artificial intelligence, for example, is already very frequently able to support self-directed learning. However, there are still a long way to go until these technologies can work seamlessly, but you can see that these are already available, and this is already happening on a quite a wide scale. So when we go deeper and deeper in this topic, we can see that such a system requires quite a high level coordination and very very comprehensive management. So we can see that how important is the collaboration between the educational institutions, the employers, and the workers in this field. So it's very important that these learning opportunities are aligned with the industry needs, and also that the employers and the educational institutions need to work together to provide relevant training and support for the workers. So this requires really a nationwide collaboration and strategical thinking. So what we can see that lifelong learning, this really sort of old concept, that it has been with us quite long ago, more than a century ago. If you think about the modern idea of lifelong learning, this is also shifting focus now and finding a very, very important role in the society, a very important mission. So how we could summarize it very simply. So lifelong learning needs to help the workers to adapt and stay relevant in their careers. It needs also increase employability and opportunities for the career advancements. And it also needs to be engaging and stimulate personal growth and intellectual fulfillment. So you can see that how these big strategical goals are breaking down onto very personalized goals and very personal interest and engagements when you take a look at the full system. And let me bring in one more aspect which makes this whole situation just even more interesting and even more challenging and even more rewarding. So I already had some words about that. Let's try to imagine that who is the learner. So when we think about that, who are the learners? Who is the learner? We can see that statistically, the learner's age is also increasing. And we can see that as we are facing with the expanded life expectancy in the society, we can see that we are living in an aging society, and there is a large cohort in the society are those people who has more time to learn, maybe towards the period of their retirement, sort of, but they can't retire because life expectancy is changing. So the so-called third age or the senior age becomes number one in the educational market, as we can see it. So it's a very interesting situation that at the same time we need to address and target the youngest ones and also the people in the third age. So when we take a look of the lifespan, at least in Finland, we can see that the childhood youth period is also extending. So we can see that many things what happened in their 20s or in their late teenagerhood in our great-grandparents' life these are happening nowadays, usually more in the people's 20s, 30s, and also this so-called adulthood and midlife is quite extended compared to many generations before us. And very interestingly, beyond 60, 64, 67 and so on, we started to talk about later midlife, a new term, and we want to provide meaningful and also useful activities and useful rewarding activities on the social level, also for the people in this age group. So this means that elderly adults are engaging in continuous learning and skill development, and there are many forms in formal education, vocational training, informal learning activities for the community engagement and contributing to the society through hobbies, volunteering, or other kind of formats, but also to reskill ourselves in sort of any age level. This becoming important. So we also started to talk about a multi-generational workforce. So this so-called cooperation between generations becomes very important, and it also requires a very inclusive workforce, as we can see, and the employers need to recognize this situation, and we need to promote age-inclusive policies and also create very flexible work arrangements. So not only to the preparation for work, not only the learning to work needs to be very adaptive and flexible, but also the work context itself. And it's a big question now, and a big opportunity, that how we can tap on the intergenerational collaboration and knowledge exchange between generations. So we can see also a little bit paradoxically, we just get back to that situation, which has been mentioned as a situation in the good old times when the grandparents taught very important wisdoms to the youngest ones. So we also want to have this wisdom in various formats in the workplaces. So this is very important, and probably we need a very structural approaches to this. I see a very interesting comment in the chat from Barbara. She mentions a project called Ageless Science, Intergenerational Learning. Barbara, would you like to introduce us briefly this program, if you are available? Are you here, Barbara?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay, excellent. So if you don't mind,
yes,
if you don't feel embarrassed, please please have a few words about this.
Could you hear me?
Yes, we hear you very clearly.
Yeah, thank you very much. I don't put my camera because all my cousins are here.
Yes, just feel free to speak. We can listen to you.
Yes, we have a very beautiful project called Ageless Science, in who we improve the contact between the eldest people in our village and the youngest, and our students in my school, in my STEM school, learn, speak, and learn with the eldest people here in Espinosa. my students prepare some experiments and some projects or science projects, and explain to the elders these experiments, this kind of science, and then join another session in which the eldest and the youngest collaborate together and make some different experiment about the previous issues. It's beautiful. I am looking for some photographs for put in the chat.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. This sounds very good, and this is in your SP's what is your?
Espiciencia, yes.
Can you say it again?
Espiciencia.
Espiciencia, yes.
Espiciencia.
Is this project focus only in your town?
Yes. It's my own STEM school. We have no formal education, and we only work with STEM projects with the people from my village and other village, and with another student away Espinosa, away my village in by internet connection.
Okay, wonderful. And I guess just as Kerry Osborne mentioned in the chat, physical health is also very important. So we can see that activation in the intergenerational communication, and also activating ourselves. Hello, nice to see you. In the learning, this also very much interconnected with increasing our physical health and maintaining our physical health. So being active in learning also means being active physically, and there are already those research available which tell about the connection between physical exercise and the capacity to continue learning throughout the lifespan. Wonderful. Thanks a lot for the contribution, Barbara.
Thank you to you.
I encourage all of you to follow the great example from Barbara and Kerry, and if you have something to say, just put it in the chat or switch on your mic and share with us. So we have a few minutes back, and I would like to close this chapter with a little bit of the summary of what has been told today. So you can see those policy initiatives which are supporting these changes are focusing on these areas. And next time, on the next occasion, I want to share with you a very exciting example. It's called Digivisio, Digital Vision, Digivisio 2030, and it shows that how higher education is transforming radically now in Finland to support this transformation on its best. To raise your attention, maybe we watch a very short video to close this session, which comes back to this question which I mentioned a few times, that who are the learner? So let's see how we think about who are the learner in this Digivisio mindset, which will be explained more in details in the next occasion, and this is going to be the end of the webinar. So I start the video now.
What does a learner look like? They will soon finish their comprehensive school and wonder what they should do when they grow up. This is a learner. They are working towards a qualification as an automation technician and want to design smart buildings when they grow up. This is a learner. They're studying at a University of Applied Sciences for their dream career in the fashion industry. This is a learner. Raising past grades. This is a learner. They earned their master's degree abroad and are now in Finland to write their doctoral dissertation. A job seeker. This is a learner. This is a learner. A student at an adult upper secondary school. This is a learner. Seeking meaning at work. Moving up to managerial duties. This is a learner. They teach in a primary school during the day and work to earn their qualification as a subject teacher every night. This is a learner. Returning to school to finish their master's degree. This is a learner. Retraining. This is a learner. A risk taker. They have decided to change occupations to a gardener. This is a learner. A researcher. This is a learner. Deepening expertise. This is a learner. They became addicted to true crime podcasts and are now taking every course in criminology at an open university. Someone with wide-ranging interests. This is a learner. After a 40-year career as a physiotherapist, they are now studying social philosophy at university. This is a learner. Each and every one of us is a learner. Regardless of their background or education, everyone has the chance to keep learning and growing in a way that fits their needs and circumstances.
Okay, so thank you so much for your attention. I hope some new thoughts are emerging for you also, and so you got some inspiration. And I'm very much looking for meeting you next time. So we will meet at the same time after 1 week. Please don't hesitate to tell your friends and to anyone around you that this webinar is taking place. So let more people coming in, and please, I'm looking forward to see you. I see that Balázs Terci has switched on her camera. So Terci, I'm having my coffee from a mug coming from your city, Mircea Chuk. So enjoy your meal, enjoy your coffees, whatever is the time in your region, and see you next week. Thank you a lot for joining. Bye.